There is no doubt about it. This is one of, if not the biggest match of Gareth Southgate's England career to date. Because if his 100th match in charge of the Three Lions doesn't end with a win, it will almost undoubtedly be his last. By 8 PM on Saturday night, the result of our Euro 2024 quarter-final clash with Switzerland will either join our losses to Croatia, Italy and France in the pile of what could have been moments, or it will forge a new path, one that on paper could be just 2 steps away from our first major tournament trophy in 58 years. And with the Swiss, there is some resemblance to those sides that I've just mentioned, in that with all due respect to the teams that we have faced so far in this competition, and I say this with England having been utterly awful so far, this is our first truly challenging opponent of Euro 2024. And unfortunately, history says that we do not fare well under Gareth Southgate against these trickier sides. This is a Switzerland team that is not afraid, and it is one that will do us immense damage given the chance. Luck was Gareth Southgate's best friend on Sunday evening, but he'll need to buddy up with foreign concepts like not passing backwards and Plan B if he fancies sticking around in Germany any longer. Now, the interesting part here is if the various media reports this week are to be believed, Gareth Southgate is considering ripping up his game plan and moving to a new formation based around 3 at the back. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down how Switzerland have got on at Euro 2024 so far, how we can expect them to set up, and what these changes to our formation could mean for England. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, and let's get straight into it. It is of very little surprise that Switzerland qualifies so comfortably from Group A. They've made it to the round of 16 in 4 of the last 5 major tournaments, and they went as far as the quarterfinals in Euro 2020 in the 5th, knocking out reigning world champions France on penalties in the process. Coincidentally, France and Switzerland are the only 2 teams to make it to the knockouts in the past 5 tournaments in a row. Their Euro 2024 campaign started with a statement 3-1 win against Hungary, while Shaqiri claimed back a point against Scotland in their second match after Scott McTominay's opener to seal Switzerland's place in the knockout stages once again. And they so nearly closed that stage as group winners, leading hosts Germany 1-0 for the majority of their third match thanks to Daniel Ndoye's 28th minute goal. And they stayed resilient to the German attack that followed until Nicholas Füllkrug's 92nd minute equaliser saw them pegged back to second place. That did not matter much to Switzerland though. They progressed to the round of 16 unbeaten, having just frustrated one of the tournament's most attractive looking sides so far. And holding Euro champions Italy similarly proved to be of little issue over the weekend. The Swiss dispatched Spalletti's much changed side 2-0 courtesy of goals from Freuler and Vargas, dominating from start to finish. In fact, Italy didn't manage a shot on target until the 73rd minute. So how has Murat Yakin's side been so successful so far? In essence, it's because they're well drilled, tactically agile, and they work incredibly well as the sum of their parts. The fact that their 7 goals in this competition so far have come from 7 different goal scorers shows you that this isn't about a singular talisman. The team is brimming with talent and experience from across Europe's top leagues, and they function as a solid unit. And unfortunately for England, in terms of formation, they set up in a 3-4-2-1 with high pressing wing backs, a shape that Gareth Southgate's side historically struggle against and have continued to do so in this Euros against Serbia and Denmark. As I say though, they are very tactically flexible. They often change shape during games, with those high-flying wing-backs allowing other dangerous wide attacking players to tuck in and give an extra number 10 option when they need it. At the back, they are brimming with experience, with Fabian Schär, Manuel Akanji and Jan Sommer forming a formidable backline that have conceded just 3 goals in 5 matches so far. Midfielders Aebischer and Freuler have 2 assists apiece, but Granit Xhaka, on the back of that immense season with Bayer Leverkusen, dictates the tempo from the middle of the park. He ran the game against Italy, completing 95% of his passes and creating 3 chances, and he will be Switzerland's danger man against a rocky English midfield. As I say, the goals have been shared so far, but Bologna's Daniel Ndoye has had the most minutes of any of the Swiss attack and has had the most shots with 13, which is more than double of any of his teammates. That's all without mentioning that Shaqiri waits in the wings, who has already proved that he still has an eye for a screamer with his long-range effort against Scotland. In a nutshell, this Swiss team is hard-working, relentless, and they will press England to death. And having already killed killed one giant in this tournament, they will be relishing the opportunity to capitalise on England's inadequacies. And if England set up the same and play how they did against Slovakia, that does feel inevitable. In many ways, it feels like the only thing standing in the way of a Swiss victory is history itself. That's because although Switzerland boast an impressive record of getting through to the knockouts time and time again, they have never progressed past the quarterfinals in either a World Cup or a Euros. And adding to that superstition is the fact that England are 13 matches unbeaten against Switzerland, whose last win against the Three Lions was 2-1 in 1981 in a World Cup qualifier. But as I said at the start, we will need more than luck and records to beat Switzerland on Saturday evening. A long throw and a bicycle kick on the precipice of elimination may have bailed out Gareth Southgate, but that late jubilation has not paved over the cracks that are clearly on display. They say that the best teams grow into these competitions, but our performance against Slovakia was probably our worst so far. Controversial celebration aside, there has been a lot of talk this week about how Bellingham's equaliser could be the spark, the moment that helps this team turn the corner and click. That could be true, but it can only be true if Southgate admits that his current game plan has not worked. Set up with the same personnel in the same shape again, and Switzerland will not allow us another one of those moments. The fact that we won the match in a completely different shape, with many of the understudies on the pitch, is more than enough evidence that Southgate's original strategy had not gone to plan. We won that match in spite of his starting choices, not because of them. And that's why it makes it so interesting that Southgate is allegedly considering a drastic change to his formation. He is typically a stubborn manager, but if the media reports are true, then he has realised that that change is needed. And that shouldn't really come as a surprise because we have been so poor. But it does come as one because this just isn't the type of thing that Gareth Southgate does. The rumours are that England have been working on a back three in training, with Walker moving to the right centre back, John Stones shifting into the middle, and Bukayo Saka potentially playing at left back, as we saw him switch to at the tail end of the Slovakia match. It seems Southgate's primary reason for this is the Guehi suspension, with Konsa the likely replacement in his position having come on for the second half of extra time. But honestly, regardless of his reasoning for this shift, I actually think that this is a formation that could make a lot of sense for England. One, because it provides a potential solution to our struggle against this shape by matching the opposition man to man. And two, because attacking wing-backs could solve our issues with building from the back by creating overloads and enhancing our width. One of England's biggest problems so far has been our lack of width. We have been incredibly narrow so far, and the midfield is very imbalanced. And ultimately, as we have seen over these 4 matches so far, that makes us quite easy to defend against. Now, there are some question marks and doubts over this formation too, like the fact that with Guehi absent, we will be playing with 3 centre-backs that are right-footed. As with our previous game plan though, the bigger question is where do you fit everyone and who will be available? On that basis, I think Gareth Southgate has a few options here. The first 2 options that I'm going to talk through are a traditional 3-5-2. Tony made a very strong cameo appearance against Slovakia on Sunday, running the channels, winning the ball and holding up play. I think he could be a real game changer next to Harry Kane, and he will allow Harry to run deep while maintaining a traditional number 9 presence in the box. The bigger question for me in this setup though is what's happening at right back, and that really depends on Kieran Trippier's availability following his late injury against Slovakia. If he's fit to play, I could imagine him slotting into his more natural right back position, because although out of position has really been his thing in this tournament, I don't think he'll want an out of position Saka and an out of position right back. If Trippier isn't fit to play, then I reckon there is a possibility that we could see Trent come into this position. This is a very similar role to the one that he plays for Liverpool, and with 3 centre-backs and 2 defensive midfielders, there will be less onus on him to defend. Like I say though, the rest of this setup with 3 at the back really depends on who Southgate wants to get onto the pitch. Cole Palmer has been excellent in both of his sub appearances. He is incredibly direct, and we look better in attack with him there. And so there could be a real temptation to get his creativity onto the pitch from the get-go. The trouble is, when you're playing 3 at the back, he only really fits in at this right wing-back position, and I don't think the manager will want to take such a defensive risk. And that's why we might see a hybrid of the shape, with something more like a 3-4-2-1, a much closer formation to how the Swiss set up. This would see Trent or Trippier in the right wing-back slot, and Foden and Bellingham slotting behind Kane, although I must admit I'm quite ready to see Foden drop out of the starting lineup at this point. In my personal opinion, I'd like to see us play something like option 1. Tony was a real game changer against Slovakia, and I really think that 2 up top could be the tactical shape up needed to get us to our attacking best. However Southgate sets up the rest of the team, it sounds like 3 at the back is a goer, and I really hope this is the solution that we need to get us clicking and playing. So all that's left to discuss now is my final prediction for the match. I think the shake-up is going to improve us in attack. However, I do not think that Switzerland will be pushovers at all. So I'm going 2-2 into extra time and England win on penalties. But that's enough of me. What do you think? What formation would you like to see us set up in? Who do you think needs to be on the pitch? And what is your prediction for this result? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you have enjoyed this preview video, then don't forget to hit like and subscribe as well. It really helps me to grow the channel. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you in my post-match reaction video. Come on, England.